Good morning. I'm Jeff LeClaire. I'm the University Secretary at the University and a very proud alumnus of the Faculty of Education. I'm honored to be reading this citation today. The highest honor the Senate of a university can confer upon an individual is an honorary doctorate. At the University of Manitoba, the criteria include distinguished achievement in the scholarship, the arts, or public service. Our honorary graduate this morning is Dr. Glen Jones. How do we define a university? As a place where truth matters, where academic freedom is essential to the pursuit of truth, where ideas come alive and grow with each new perspective, where lives are changed and where collectively we can change the world. That's why Dr. Jones fell in love with the study of universities and how they are governed. That's why he has devoted a lifetime to shaping our understanding of university governance in Canada and around the world. Before he was one of the world's leading authorities on university governance, Glen Jones was a student here at the University of Manitoba. His parents had sold the family farm in Killarney, and a young Glen had no idea what career he should pursue, so he decided to plug away at a degree until inspiration struck. While attending university, he became enamored with the university itself. As a student here, he was active in student politics and university governance. He served on the university's Board of Governors. The more he learned about post-secondary education, the more it intrigued him. He wondered, how is it that universities have thrived for nearly 1,000 years? And how can we make the most of their boundless potential for research, for leadership, for personal growth, and for the potential to build a better society? Glen eventually pursued this scholarly quest at the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education at the University of Toronto. After earning his master's degree and a doctorate in higher education, he joined the faculty as a professor and researcher. 2 years ago, he was appointed dean. If you'd ask Dr. Jones to describe his greatest contribution, he will tell you it lies in his research. And if you ask anyone familiar with the field of higher education which researcher has made the biggest contribution to the literature of higher education governance in Canada, Glen's name will almost certainly be mentioned. As well as being a prolific author of frequently cited works about universities, Dr. Jones is a generous, wise, and engaging research collaborator, building teams that include and empower fellow academics, administrators, and graduate students. There are a few scholars in this field who have such a range and diversity in their scholarly work and development. He held the prestigious Ontario Research Chair in Post-Secondary Education Policy and Measurement. His research has advanced both the theory and practice of university governance and institutional autonomy, important yet often challenged foundational elements of universities in Canada. Over the past 2 decades, Professor Jones has authored or co-authored more than a dozen books, many of which are foundational works for understanding our national and provincial higher education systems. He was among the first to build empirical research on governing boards in Canadian universities, senates, and student organizations. He has greatly expanded our academic understanding of the factors that impact our universities, from systems and governance to politics and policy. Through international partnerships, Dr. Jones has helped the world see the Canadian model from a broad range of perspectives. These connections reveal the qualities that make our system unique. They make us question why we choose certain approaches, and they ensure that we learn from the ideas and experiences of our counterparts around the globe. As a leader, Dr. Jones is known for his ability to find patterns and provide insightful and measured commentary. His service and expertise are highly valued and routinely sought by university presidents, academics, students, and administrators alike. His work has made him an internationally recognized expert. And through this work, he is inspiring a new generation of scholars to fall in love with both the idea and the infinite possibilities of the university. Mr. Chancellor, it is an honor for me to ask, in the name of the Senate of the University of Manitoba, that you confer on Dr. Glen Allen Jones the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of this university, I admit you to the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. Congratulations, Dr. Jones.
Chancellor, President, distinguished guests, fellow graduates. I have a vivid memory of a sunny morning in June of 1981 when I walked from my apartment at 99 Dalhousie to my new office at the University of Manitoba Students' Union. I strolled along the pathway that ran beside the university fence, and there were cattle grazing what was then the empty front field, with all the accompanying sounds and smells. Then I crossed the street onto the main campus. In front of the music building, 2 students were practicing violin. A professor and a team of students were assembling some sort of model in front of architecture. Other students were lying on the grass of the quadrangle, reading and catching a bit of sun on a wonderfully hot day. Around me, professors, staff, and students were walking and biking to their own special spaces of the university, and I turned the corner into the University Center building. I was 19 years old and excited by the prospect of heading to my very first private office with my name on the door. And I distinctly remember thinking, I love this university. It was a dynamic space for freedom and exploration, a place where you could find physicists and philosophers, agricultural scientists and anthropologists. It was a very special space, and I realized that morning that I truly loved it. Like many first loves, I would later learn that it would not be my last, and that I'd become infatuated with the concept of the university. These places of inquiry, these spaces for the exploration of ideas and new knowledge in a countless range of specializations. These institutions where critical scholars hold up a mirror to a society that does not always want to see. I cannot tell you that my journey from that point on was clearly mapped. When I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1983, I had absolutely no clear vision of what I wanted to do. The 2 family professions were farming and teaching, and I knew that I was far better equipped for the latter, and so I enrolled in education. I had fallen in love with a person this time, and we were married on campus with a reception at Pembina Hall. It was a mixed marriage, an artsy and an engineer, and we followed my new wife's dream of graduate education in Toronto. Then it all seemed to fall into place. I found a program that would match my love of universities, and I learned about research, publication, and how to explore the world through international scientific conferences. I'm incredibly indebted to this university because it lit a spark within me. I saw the university as this very special place that was so different from the small town that I had grown up in and offered me opportunities that my parents would never have dreamed of. Like other universities, it is far from perfect. There were no references to residential schools or the 60s scoop when I was going through my courses. But this is changing, and I like to think that we have the potential to create a new, dynamic Canadian university that can be a space for reconciliation, a place that can provide a stimulating and welcoming intellectual environment for all of those who choose to attend. So given this largely self-serving narrative, what are the tiny drops of wisdom that, as a Convocation speaker, I am legally obligated to provide? The first and perhaps most obvious is that you have successfully completed a demanding program of study at a great university. This is a day to be proud of your accomplishments. But it's also a day to remember that you did not do this alone. I know that I owe everything to wonderful parents who taught me about the value of good, old-fashioned hard work, parents who must have secretly wondered whether I'd ever get a real job after completing 4 degrees. But they were always supportive, and they just wanted me to be happy. There is a loving spouse that has been a very supportive partner and my best friend for more than 30 years. I have one friend here today I've known since I was 14 years old. There are 2 couples that we spent a lot of time with in Toronto, and 3 of the 4 were people we met here in Manitoba. The 4th is from Alberta, but she had the good sense to marry a Manitoban, and we've gradually grown to accept her. So as you celebrate the significant accomplishment, take a moment to acknowledge those who've given helping hands along the way and those who will continue to support you as you move forward. There are those who will argue that if you find the job that you love, you will never work a day in your life. Those people are liars. I love my job, but there are always days when I wonder whether I'm up to the challenge. The reality, though, is that if you find that thing, that desire, that problem to solve, that spark, it will drive you forward and provide you with countless rewards. That desire might be to change the world one mind at a time through teaching, to influence change through research and advocacy, to help people through professional practice, to engage and stimulate the world through your art or your performance, or to lead an organization forward to a better place. Some of you already know what that thing is, and you're all ready to jump into the world with your new degree and make a real difference. For others, like myself, it may take longer, but the education that you've received at this university will help you find it. I have the advantage of looking back now and seeing how important a realization that occurred to me on a sunny day in June many years ago could be for my future. I'm very proud to stand once again as a graduate of this great university, and I wish the very best to you, my new alumni peers, the graduates of 2018. Congratulations on your accomplishments. Take a moment to celebrate, and then go out and use your education to change the world. Thank you.